Hey, everybody. Welcome into PartsCounterGurus.com. This is a segment that Keith and I have worked up where we like to bring very important industry topics to your attention.
It's called a quickie.
Yeah, call it quickie. Did I come up with that?
I think so.
Yeah. So we like to take one specific topic that we know is very impactful to our industry, the automotive world, whether it be the automotive world, the tech world, whatever that we're passionate about, which I think most of our fans realize what we're passionate about. We have a particular topic today that heavily impacts our industry. And SEMA has been a big advocate of getting this information out there.
Yes, I want to thank SEMA for bringing this to our attention. I probably would not have known about it without them. You probably would have, Jay, but I would not have. So thanks, SEMA.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what we want to bring to everybody's attention today is because we need all the help in the world, and we'll discuss what this thing is about. But what we want to do is bring up what we call the RPM Act. That is a sore spot in the industry right now.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal with the EPA. Basically, what the RPM Act stands for is Recognizing the Protection of Motorsports Act. And we'll get into some details here in just a moment about that. But let me tell you that this thing, if the EPA has their way with this, there are going to be a lot of people affected by this in a very negative way. And we want to bring those potential impacts to your attention today and ask for some support. So
Jay's got the details and links and on what to do. Let me kind of elaborate. This is what I do, Jay, is I take everything you say and then I translate it to the non-gearheads of the world.
This is why we're a team, Keith. This is why we're a team, pal.
The act itself, if you're a fan of restoring vintage automobiles or race cars, is a positive act, meaning you want this to pass.
Correct.
If you're a fan of those things, you want to support this act. Now,
that is correct.
The issue at hand here is the EPA is trying to get control over all automotive development, including old vehicles. And we're not anti-EPA, so I guess I first need to clarify that. There's some good things they're doing. It's just sort of a... these things seem to be sort of quick and ill-thought-out scenarios where somebody filed it under sounded like a good idea at the time kind of thing.
Right.
And... look, reducing emissions and pollution, and that's all great, but you have to think about how you're going about doing that.
Right.
And these vehicles, a lot of them older, they passed every rule you had at the time they were built. You can't then go back and change the rules on them. So
that's right.
So things like guys restoring old Ford Broncos that are super cool, wanting to just participate in race events like I and my son go and do trail riding. A lot of it's on dirt bikes. And a lot of that stuff's now getting to the point where we can't even do that out in the woods without, some guy standing over us going, we got to check your...
You can't ride through that stream or whatever.
Right. You literally can't ride your dirt bike through the dirt.
Right.
So...
Makes no sense.
There's got to be limits here, right? And so Jay and I are both on the same page of, look, we're all for trying to do things in the right way that's careful and respectful of the environment. But just these blanket rules and laws that say, oh, no, you can't restore cars or you can't, do race cars that don't have mufflers on them. I mean, come on, man.
Right.
So the act itself, if you want to read more about it, do you have links and all that?
I do. Okay. So you can go to SEMA.org, and that's SEMA, which stands for Special Equipment Market Association, I believe.
That's the big one. They are the big auto show in the United States every year.
That's absolutely correct. They have the largest show in the world actually is in Las Vegas. We, by the way, were official media for this past November. Very fun, and we appreciate you allowing us in, SEMA. But that is SEMA.org/RPM-bill-summary. And I'm going to read to you what this thing is about. Okay, so here's the problem. The U.S. Congress exempted race vehicles from regulation under the Clean Air Act in 1970. However, in 2015, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, or as we all know, EPA, asserted that it is illegal to convert a motor vehicle into a race car if the vehicle's emission systems no longer remains in its certified configuration. The agency alleges that the Clean Air Act exemption only applies to purpose-built race vehicles, NASCAR, Formula One, sprint cars, etc. EPA is also claiming authority over any emission-related parts produced, sold, and installed on motor vehicles converted for racing. Since the Clean Air Act's enactment, SEMA is unaware of a single instance in which the EPA previously took the position that the law applies to motor vehicles converted to for race car use only. Before the EPA announced its new interpretation in 2015, industry had a clear understanding that these vehicles are excluded from the Clean Air Act. Now, here's the problem that this creates when, if they're going to pass this, the EPA passes this, and this is if we don't do our part for being in favor of the RPM Act.
So EPA is basically taking the stance it's already passed, and they're just going to start legislating on it.
Exactly.
RPM Act is not so fast.
Right. Hold on.
We're going to actually put an act in place now that says you can't do that.
What this does is it takes away your right as a consumer of having that race car on the weekends and enjoying it as a hobby, and that's your only purpose for using this vehicle.
Come on, Jay. I mean, we all start at the top, right? I mean, we all start with a NASCAR sponsor, Doritos, and $17 million for a race team, and that's how we learn to get into NASCAR. Oh, no, wait, it's actually the other way around.
Yeah,
we start building them on the weekends.
Right. How are you going? And that exactly, and that's exactly where I was going. Is that you have an industry that starts when young kids, young adults are getting into the circuit. They have to start somewhere. They don't have the sponsorship like a NASCAR built vehicle or a Formula One. That's a luxury. It's
privateer stuff, mom and dad on the weekends. Yeah.
Right. You pay your dues as an individual driver, driving on those local circuits and get recognized as a driver to be in that industry. It also, what happens is if this thing continues to go forward, is that you take away a lot of jobs from people who are producing the products for these vehicles. This is an industry killer if we do not step up and act on this.
And, this is just my opinion. I haven't even mentioned this to Jay, but I'm going to kind of say what I've said on some of the other environmental emission stuff that we've discussed. Is this really a problem? Do you have data that can show me that race cars are causing damage to the environment in a big way that's worth this? Is there any data out there that supports that? And if so, where is it? I want to see it. Okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, it might be a serious problem, and if we don't change this in the next 5 years, we're all going to die. I don't know, because I haven't seen any data, and somebody needs to make that case. Until you do, no pass go. Right?
Right.
No collect $200.
That's right. Yeah. So it's just it's interesting that the EPA is really kind of, in my opinion, kind of gone at it with an
overstep.
It is. It's an overstep. It really is, because, again, and you just said it. It's like how if the EPA would focus on, or any local government would focus on what truly is the cause, then they would clearly see. Yeah. That this is a load. This is not where they need to be focusing all their energy on.
Well, and as we have learned, Jay, from recent podcasts, a lot of these NASCARs and race cars are running a heavy amount of ethanol, which is a grain-based, corn-based fuel.
That's correct.
It is not producing the same emissions that a traditional unleaded gasoline engine is. So,
that is correct.
Really?
So,
I mean,
yeah. Do your homework, EPA. It's like, just, I don't know, man.
They're gonna keep enforcing until somebody kind of draws the line and slaps their hand and says you can't do that. So
that's right.
Let's do this. Let's put on our website links to all this RPM information. Now I'm going to put Jay on the spot, everybody. I love doing this. He hates it. Do you want to? We're going to make a decision, a corporate decision in real time. You ready for this?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Do you want to do a featured article for this on the webpage like we've done for some of the other stuff?
I will take that responsibility. I will put an article out there about this on our website.
Or would you rather put it under a mention tab or something like that? What do you think?
I'm going to put an article out there. We're going to give you all the links, and we'll give you some details that you can read about. Please go to our website, and which is partscountergurus.com.
Yep. So we're going to have just search for RPM Act, but it should be up. We may pin it up at the top of the site.
That's right.
We'll put all the links for where you can go to support the RPM Act, where you can go to read more about it, where you can go to find out more about SEMA. And possibly what am I missing there? Is that it? We'll make sure we've done our homework and we've got all the links laid out for you. How's that?
There's several links. There's really that will drive you to that, and I'll put SEMA.org up there, and then we'll go to votervoice.net, which will give you the link directly over to the RPM Act. So
there you go.
We appreciate you guys listening to us about this today. We thank you so much for supporting us, and please, if you're a fan of racing and a fan of having the right to be able to build your car to race, then this is very important to you and many other people in this country. So we'll do our due diligence to get the word out. We are both big supporters of SEMA, the racing industry, the automotive industry as a whole. We're also big fans of the EPA. We get it. But again, we feel very strongly that this is not an appropriate stance to take with this industry. So there you have it.
If nothing else, why don't we ask the great people of the United States what they want? Have we done that? So have we? I don't know.
Think so.
I have a feeling you get an answer that we think we know.
Hey, if you want your kid racing on the weekends, man, you gotta stand up for that right. This is what this is all about. Yeah. So.
All right. So I'll just mention in closing, thanks everybody for watching this. Ring the bell if you would be so kind. That will alert you when we have more informative programs like this. We do a regular news segment. I said news.
Live.
And it covers a lot of stuff, and sometimes those run a little long form. And then we have a podcast. You can find all of this and so much more on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/The Parts Counter Guru. Thanks, Jay.
You got it. Yeah.
The Parts Counter Gurus. Sorry. Ooh, I almost messed that up.
That's good.
And make sure you subscribe. We'd appreciate that. It'll help us keep doing these. How's
Absolutely.
that?
That's great. That's perfect, man. You did a great job.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, ringing the bell. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, that's Jay over there. I'm Keith. We'll see you next time.